What is going on, everyone? We are here with another spotlight interview series, and this one is a little different because this artist is actually from my hometown. We actually kind of went to high school together. He was a grade or two above me. Shout out Burlington, Massachusetts. He is down in Nashville now, though, working his butt off, making some real good music. And this is Kyle, ladies and gentlemen. Kyle, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's up? I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm excited to have you on here. Been a huge fan of yours like for a while, and then obviously growing up in Burlington together and stuff like that. It's just really cool to kind of like connect back together and like do this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, for sure, dude. I'm pumped. I'm pumped too that like just seeing people from our hometown also into music too. So I
Yeah.
love it.
No, it's crazy. So I mean, it's wild just because I mean, especially after last year and stuff too, and just people pursuing their dreams and stuff like that. And I mean, eventually my dream is to go down to Nashville and do what you're doing at some point.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Let me know if you do.
No, exactly. So kind of before we hop into the questions, if you want to just tell people a little bit about yourself for those who don't know who you are.
Yeah, of course. I'm Kyle. I'm a mostly pop artist. I try not to label it too much, but more so I'm just an artist. Based in Nashville right now, but like Andrew was saying, I am from Burlington, Massachusetts. Have a little bit of a different background because I didn't really grow up on music or anything. So I started getting into it like my senior year of college and just started producing and whatnot, and then fell in love with it, and it brought me down to Nashville. So now I'm doing like the songwriting stuff and doing the artist career as well. So it's a little bit about me.
No, that's awesome, man. And like I said, I mean, a lot of your music is like really cool, and like I'm a huge fan of literally all the songs that you have out. So I mean, I love what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing, honestly.
Thank you, bro. That means a lot. Thank you.
No, of course. So kind of hopping into the first question, obviously everyone knows I always start with the basic of basics is how did you get into music? Like where did it all start for you?
Yeah, so I feel like it's weird for me in a sense. So basically, it started when I was really young, but it wasn't something really anyone knew about. I mean, I was someone who was very kind of introverted, and in Burlington, I don't know how much you knew me like back in high school and stuff, but I was kind of known as a more sporty kid. And that's kind of just like what I rode with. I didn't want to be known as someone who was different and stuff. So I kind of would come home like middle school, like sing before my parents got home from work and stuff. And I would make like mashups on this site called jamglue.com until it got shut down. But that was like my main thing with music. And that's really all it was. And then once it got to like my senior year of high school, I picked up a guitar and was like, well, I might as well do something if I can't really sing in front of people and stuff. So I started playing a little guitar. And then not till my senior year of college, I was like, damn, I'm really going to regret if I had done at least like show people like my singing or anything like that. So, I mean, the whole story, I guess, is that my senior year of high school, well, senior year of college, I made like a fake, well, not a fake Instagram, but a secret Instagram account that was C Morningwick Music. And I didn't tell any of my friends that I made it. And I just posted one video of me like singing like a mirror selfie. It was so cringeworthy, horrible. But there was like a couple of people who liked it, and it kind of gave me a little bit of confidence that I needed. And then like I sent it to my sister, who had no idea that I was into music and stuff. And she like messaged me and was like saying that she was crying over it and stuff. And so that just kind of gave me the confidence that and reassurance that I needed to start pursuing it. So I took an audio production my senior year of college, started to produce some stuff. People were liking it. And then I was like, all right, let's do the thing. And I just started to learn everything I could about production, songwriting and stuff. And then just felt like I should dive into it, go to Nashville and try it out.
No, exactly, man. That's just such a cool story. I mean, like honestly, I mean, for me being in music, I haven't been in the business long either.
Mhm.
I kind of just like I kind of started off slow too. Like a lot of people didn't know that like I was into this kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
then eventually like I started doing like started putting things out there, like my beats that I produce and stuff like that. And then like the song I wrote about my grandfather when my friend Nathan wrote ended up recording that. So like a lot of people just didn't know about that stuff. And then once that got out there, people started really liking it, and I started getting like a fan base and stuff like that. And it's cool. And it
Yeah,
just
exactly. Yeah. And it's almost intimidating sometimes when you're someone who starts kind of late in the thing. Cause I mean, especially down here, you run into people who's like, oh yeah, I've been writing for as long as I can, like since I was 5. And then that's great. But I'm like, who the hell am I? Like I started 3 years ago. But I mean, it's all just, if you're loving what you're doing, you can differentiate yourself a little bit. I mean, and at the end of the day, if you're happy doing what you're doing, that's kind of what we're all chasing. So
no, exactly.
better
I
late
mean,
than never.
no, and exactly. Like I like you like even kind of like you said, like you would have regretted it if you didn't really try and do it. And like that was like kind of me too. I was like, if I don't try this, like I'm gonna regret it like 10 years down the road if I never even tried doing any of this.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
no, it's just crazy. So kind of getting a little more into like how you like really pursued music. Did you have like any inspirations? Like obviously, like I know you kind of said you sent it to your sister and she was very emotional about it. Like, did she really like push you and did your family push you to like really start pursuing more music? And then who are some of your inspirations in the music industry right now?
So that's a good question, and like I said, it's kind of a weird question for me too, because I didn't. I mean, my family, they were kind of normal when it came to music. Like they listened to it on the radio and all that stuff. My dad loved like top 40 pop music and whatnot, but also like some like 90s, 80s stuff. But none of them, like I said, no one knew that I loved music or anything like that. So I mean, they've always been people who would like support me for anything that I do. And my sister, I would say, mostly in terms of like a person that pushed me, just because not in terms of music, but just more so like pursuing things that I love, because she's just always been really talented and wasn't afraid to pursue the stuff she likes. She's like a super talented like designer and stuff. And back in high school, I mean, I kind of was always under the impression like, oh, like business, finance, all this stuff. But she was like, no, like I'm going to become a designer and do all this stuff. And now she's killing it. So she kind of gave me that like extra confidence I needed to be like, okay, like I can get into a creative field too and see what I can do. So that's kind of that side of things. In terms of like actual what got me going musically, honestly, it wasn't more so people that I was chasing, more of just a feeling. Like when I heard some songs, I was like, damn, like I want to make people feel that way. So one of those artists that did a lot of that for me, like in like 2017, 2018 was Lauv. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yep.
Everyone knows him for the song I Like Me Better, but his catalog is way deeper than that. Y'all check it out if you haven't heard him. But yeah, I was a big fan of people like that, especially people who are like producing their own music and like just doing the whole process themselves. I mean, I thought that was really cool and kind of like inspiring. So like back then when I just started, it was Love, John Mayer in terms of like guitar and just capturing people's attention. I mean, it's John Mayer. And then a little bit of a smaller artist named Jake Miller. He was also a guy who, I mean, I started following him in like 2012 and he was just a rapper, but then he decided that he wanted to take the pop route and like he started taking singing lessons, started producing himself, like moved out to LA and now he's killing it. So it was like people like that that just like really motivated me to want to start the production stuff. But overall, it was just the feeling that music gave me that I wanted to give to other people. And yeah, did
No,
I
that's
miss part of that question?
yeah, no, that's awesome. And like kind of like touching up on a little bit of that, that's like how I am too, is because like I want people like when I write, like especially when I write and like co-write with different artists, like I always want to make other people feel that like if I can help someone else like going through that same situation or something like that, it's
Yeah.
just it's really cool and powerful. Like I mean, I always touch up on the song I wrote about my grandfather. That was the first song I ever wrote, and I played. We were having a family party one day, and a family friend of ours came over, and we listened to the song because he didn't know that I was writing or anything, and he listened to it. And his father had actually just passed away like 2 or 3 weeks before that, and he was like, "That's just such an amazing." Like he's like, if I had listened to that song earlier, I would have had that playing at the funeral. That's just how much it hit me and like really reminisced with me.
Dude,
So
that makes it worth it right there. That's so cool.
no, and exactly
What a
that's the
song.
stuff. Like, and I mean, obviously, you have a big fan base too. Like, I'm always like catching your lives and stuff, and there's a lot. You have a lot of good fans, and it's just
Got the,
sometimes, just sometimes fans don't know how much that stuff means to the artist. Like, it's really powerful and just really pushes a lot of people. You know.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, first off, that's impressive. That was your first song that you wrote. That's badass that you could actually like put a song together first time. I mean, first songs I wrote are garbage. So kudos to you. But no, yeah, I think it's a big thing too in terms of artistry and like when you're doing everything yourself too. A lot of people like will message you and be like, hi, like, can you write a song about this? Like, oh, I want you to put out more songs like this. And I mean, it's even like family will come up to you and be like, oh, like you need to make more happier songs. But like a lot of people don't see it as like it's actually an outlet for like artists and stuff like that. So I guess pay attention a little bit to like the songs they're putting out because it reflects a lot of their life. I mean, for the most part, obviously there's exceptions, but yeah, I mean it's a very, as you know, it's kind of a emotional thing when you're making a song and whatnot. So
No,
yeah.
exactly. And like you said, it's just an outlet sometimes, like just like to be able to put emotions down on a paper and then maybe eventually some of it will come together or some of it will just go in a trash can crumpled up that I'll never ever read again. But
Most of my stuff.
no, literally, I have like a trash can full of stuff. Like, but sometimes I just don't throw them out because sometimes I'll go back and I'll find some little words in there, some lines that all of a
Oh
sudden I'm
yeah.
like, Whoa, when did I write that? I was
Yeah,
like,
dude, I don't know if you do the same thing, but I mean, a lot of artists I know too do the same thing down here. But like voice memos on my phone, I have
yes.
like thousands of them on my phone of just random melodies, like random thoughts, and like all
Mhm.
this stuff just to like bring back in songs
Yeah,
later.
no,
So
the little note app on my phone. Oh, that thing that
oh,
like I go through more of those than I know what to do with, honestly.
dude, my storage is almost full based on notes and voice memos. It's
No,
so bad.
exactly. So kind of touching up a little more on like songwriting and stuff like that, that actually leads us into a next perfect question is like kind of what is your creative process like when you go to write a song? So obviously Red Dress was like kind of your first like big one that
Yeah.
you did. Like so like kind of just how do you go about writing a song and like kind of how what did it feel like getting like your first ever song out there too?
Oh, it was so cool. I mean, but the funny thing is the process is just so different every single time I write a song. Which I think it's kind of normal. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, do you mean like my first? Because I was releasing like a couple songs just in my development period under my normal name. So I mean, it's kind of different with like the whole Kyle
Yeah,
thing.
I
So,
mean, whatever kind of you want to get more into. I mean, obviously, because I know Kyle's like the big thing now. I know you did release stuff under your original name, but whatever, like, kind of just like whatever you want to like go into is cool.
yeah, I guess I can do a little bit of both. So I guess going like way back in 2018 when I was just like I just started putting out music just because I was like I have things I want to say and I want to tell people I like music. So I honestly just wrote down all my thoughts and probably a little too many thoughts and whatnot. But after that, like I felt like I got everything out, and then once I really just got kind of I guess better. I'm still not perfect, but better at what I was doing and more comfortable releasing stuff. That's when I transitioned to the new name. And that's kind of when my process got a lot different too. Where before, when I was first learning, it was more of like I was almost forcing myself to like sit down and be like, all right, I need to produce a song today, like looking up videos and stuff. Now that I did the Kyle thing, it was more of just like I was finding inspiration from things around me and then just like kind of capitalizing on that. So an example, my first song that I released under Kyle was called Love Letters. And that all started from who was a co-writer on the song. Shout out to my friend Nick Caniff. I went to high school. He's like one of my best friends. And he sent me a voice note, and he never sends me like stuff like that, but he likes songwriting occasionally too. And it was just called Love Letters. And I didn't even listen to it. I was actually serving at a restaurant at the time. And I was at the restaurant. I read the thing Love Letters, and instantly I just heard these love letters from you. And I got home that night and just like built out the whole song based on that. So it's random how it starts. And then going to Red Dress, it was something where I had that song written for probably a year, and it was just like an acoustic guitar. Like it was a very country like song.
Yeah.
And then I produced the beat that I didn't even know was going to end up being Red Dress. And for some reason, I was just looking through my voice notes. I was like, all right, do I have any lyrics that I can write to this song? And I just sang Red Dress over it, and it just felt so nice and smooth. So that's another way that it works. But other times it's just, yeah, it's random stuff. I feel like the best songs just come very naturally and just kind of get thrown at you in a sense. So
No,
yeah,
exactly. And it's just always cool because a lot of artists just have different ways of doing things. Like some people will write a full song and then they'll search for a beat, or some people will start with like the melody and like the guitar strings and then write to that. So it's just
yeah,
always cool to see people's different perspectives on things.
right. And it's cool because it's also just always different every time. I mean, I don't think I've written a song like in the same structure. Like I feel like one day I have an acoustic guitar melody, and then other days I have a voice memo on my phone. Other days it's lyrics. So it's cool how it's always changing too. It keeps things interesting.
No, exactly. And then kind of going into our next question, obviously, before we started the interview today, I kind of talked to you a little bit about this question because it's always the hardest one. People always freeze up on it. And it is a very difficult question. And that's why it's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Is obviously with last year too, with TikTok and stuff like that, people were really trying to like push music and like get out there more with their music and stuff like that. And there's a lot of up and coming artists in obviously Nashville and just anywhere in the world.
yeah,
Um, but what would you say makes you you? Like what makes Kyle Kyle?
yeah. And you warned me about this question, and I still have no idea how to answer it. But I mean, excuse me. I would say my main thing with music is like obviously in a perfect world I would want to like be able to perform on huge stages and stuff like that. But I mean, I would say the thing that I try to pride myself most on when it comes to actually making music and what separates me a little bit is that I want my music to be as connect and like me a part of that music too, to be connected to people as much as possible. So like I want like it's so hard to explain, but I almost want my music to like be someone else's song too. So whether that's me like just like messaging people on Instagram, like talking about the song or like stuff that they're going through and whatnot, and just really trying to have like a really good connection with the people who are like taking time to listen to my music and stuff too. Like I don't want to be an artist who like they just know my song. Like I want them to know me too.
Right.
So I feel like that's something that I try my best at least to kind of make it not just my music, but also me, because that's what my music essentially is. So I think that's something that separates me a little bit to like some people in the industry. But overall, I'm just an artist that's trying. Another thing that I think kind of separates me too, but a lot of people do this also, is that I'm not just trying to like release one genre of music. I mean, I have like Red Dress and other songs that are kind of like hip hop, and then there's some pop, and then I have like the Red Dress Reimagined, and I write a lot of country music too. So I'm just trying to do everything that feels right. And I also feel like a lot of people who are listening to music don't just listen to one genre. So I'm like, why should I just make one genre of music when I like so many? So
No, exactly. No, and I love that answer just because that's how I am. Like I don't like to box myself into one category, one genre. Like
mhm.
obviously like that song I wrote about my grandfather, that's a country song, but then I go out and make these like EDM and rap beats and stuff like that. Like so like I just cuz like I mean you look at all my playlists and stuff like on Spotify and all that, like I mean I go from listening to like Luke Combs to listen to like Polo G to listen to some EDM stuff. Like it's like I'm all over the place and I just don't like boxing myself in because there's so many roads you can go down and connect to so many different fan bases and just people out there.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the music industry now that I think is going through, I mean, some people don't love it, but I think it's exciting, is that like genres are getting very like cross played now, especially like down here. I mean, there's some artists that are kind of coming up. I mean, there's this one kid, Breland, shout out to him if he ever sees this, he probably won't, but I
Yeah.
mean, he's just like a very like kind of a spitting image of like crossing genres. He has like a very like kind of gospel R&B background, but like he's almost bringing like a hip hop vibe to country music too. And
Yes.
you see a lot of these, like, I mean, Kane Brown and Black Bear just released a song too recently. And it's just cool seeing these genres kind of like collide into each other. So I think that just gives a whole nother opportunity just for people to literally make whatever the hell they want. So
No, exactly. And it's just cool because a lot of cool things can come from it.
yeah.
Um, so getting into kind of the last question here before we listen to some live music from you is what are your goals as an artist? Where do you want to go with your music and what else can we expect down the road from you?
Dude, that's honestly probably the hardest question. I don't even know yet. No, I'm kidding. Well, not really, but I would say, I mean, my main goal, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, is just to be able to like kind of reach as many people as I can with my music and just me personally. Um, in a perfect world, I would love to be able to like obviously go on tour and just continue to make music that people love and eventually just do it full time and just kind of devote myself to it. But I also like, another goal of mine is to be able to get into that songwriting world too a little bit more, which I've been pursuing a lot in Nashville recently. But just because there's some songs that obviously just kind of don't blend necessarily to what I'm going for, but would work perfectly for other people. So I kind of want to be able to like spread what I have been blessed with, in a sense of like being able to produce and write music and stuff, and kind of give that to other people to touch other people's lives. So I guess my overall goal is just to be able to like impact people with music. And I know that's kind of cliche, but that's what it is.
No, honestly, no, and I definitely agree with that because that's like what I like to do too. Is this like I want to give it to other people and hopefully that it can like help other people in the same situations and stuff like that when I go through songwriting and like even beats and melodies. Sometimes it's like if it can really impact someone differently, then that's like what I love doing too.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that I've been doing, I think, recently too, is because kind of those people in my head, like, because I was releasing some sad songs for a little bit and whatnot, and they're like, oh, like, I wish you made happier songs. But one thing that I've noticed, which is kind of going back to what makes me a little bit different thing, is that I have a weird thing where I like writing sad songs but making happy beats. So a lot of my stuff that's upcoming, it's almost like sad, but at the same time, it's like, oh, I still vibe to it.
No, and that's honestly just so cool. Like it's like a really creative like process and it's super super cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, of course. So, obviously, getting into the good part of the interview that everyone loves is a song from you. Obviously, sometimes I play songs and sometimes artists are willing to perform, and Kyle's willing to perform today. So, I will let
Yeah.
you take the floor for a few minutes, tell people about what song you're going to do, and the floor is yours.
Sweet. Thanks. Well, I haven't done many live performances lately, so thank you. Hopefully you like it, but this is the most recent song I released back in February. I do have new music coming soon, so stay tuned. But this one's called Doesn't It Hurt? And I think the words kind of are self-explanatory, but I guess it's like an anti-breakup song where it's like you should be feeling all upset and everything, but for some reason, like you're almost just numb to the pain. And so yeah, this one's called Doesn't It Hurt? And let me know too if like the guitar is a little bit too loud and stuff, just like stop me and I can reset. So
All right, no worries.
thought that it would take some time to realize what I said. Pushing you out of my life, waiting for the regret to kick in. But I got a feeling that I can't explain, a numbness rolling through my brain. Don't think I'll ever be the same again. Why doesn't it hurt like I think it should? Why doesn't it sting like I hoped it would? Why doesn't it keep me tossing, turning up all night? And why don't I cry when I hear your name? Why does it feel like I feel nothing? Why don't I hope to God you show me what you're worth? Why doesn't it hurt? Why doesn't it hurt? Now I'm feeling all choked up, thinking what's wrong with me? Is it that I'm lacking every sense of empathy that I need? When I think about you, I don't wanna lie and tell all my friends I'm doing fine, but I'm good without you in my life. Oh. Why doesn't it hurt like I think it should? Why doesn't it sting like I hoped it would? Why doesn't it keep me tossing, turning up all night? And why don't I cry when I hear your name? Why does it feel like I feel nothing? Why don't I hope to God you show me what you're worth? Why doesn't it hurt? Why doesn't it hurt? That's basically it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge fan of all your stuff that you do. Obviously, you probably saw me kind of singing in the background a little bit. I had myself on mute, but I was jamming out.
I love it, dude. Thank you.
No, of course. You were just such a talented artist, and it's like I said, it's just cool to be from the same hometown, and like we were, like I said, we were like a grade or two apart, and just to connect again and talk about this stuff and do this is just really, really cool.
Yeah, well, dude, thank you so much for the kind words and the confidence boost. But I'm super happy to see that people are like pursuing it also from their hometown. Like I said, I feel like when you're almost there for so long, you don't realize who has the similar interest to you until you kind of leave for a little bit and you're like, oh damn, like this is really cool. So it's nice. I love what you're doing too, and I'm keep doing it, and I'm always happy to do this stuff. So thank you.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. Before I kind of just do my little closing speech here, do you want to just let people know where we can kind of find you and like where all your music is and stuff like that?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Kyle, but I spell it with a C. That's kind of my artist thing. So you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, TikTok under Music by Kyle with a C. So MUSICBYCYLE. I can't spell, so I hope that's right. But yeah, you can find me on there. Also, musicbykyle.com has like all my music if you want like merch and stuff like that. I'm not going to promo, but yeah, that's where you can find my stuff.
No, awesome. At some point, I need one of those hats because, like we were saying, we're matching with the hats today a little bit, and actually, it would
Got
go
you,
good
bro.
with my logo and my shirt too. So I do need one of those at some point.
I got you, bro.
Um, yeah, no, but again, thank you so much for coming on here. I appreciate it. So just thank you again, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you again for having me.
No, of course. So without further ado, that wraps up another Spotlight interview series with yours truly, ACK. Obviously, every Sunday we got new interviews coming out, so please keep coming and checking them out. We got a lot of new artists from country to pop to rap, everything that you want right here on the Spotlight series. I'll see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.